I think everyone wants to be able to make a difference, whether it's on a one-to-one basis or in a community. I didn't want to become the chief that, okay, I'm at the top of my game now. I don't need to do anything more, put my feet up on the desk and, open up the mail and pay the bills. I didn't want to be that person. And so I think it did a lot for me. It was a definite advantage in my career. So many mentors in the Chiefs leadership that, they just took us in, made us understand that we didn't need to reinvent the wheel, that they were there as a resource to us. And I definitely took advantage of that anytime I could. The Chiefs Association for, the better part of 25 years as a chief and still active with the association. I was able to see things grow and able to see things develop in a positive way. And never an unintended direction, by the way, just something that came, it just morphed. Well, I don't know, for about 18 years now, I've been a volunteer for the Department of Defense group called Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. I've actually made presentations to not only the international chiefs, but the Illinois chiefs as well. And we're the agency that helps civilian employers and members of the Guard and Reserve have a good working relationship. So I became involved with the Central Illinois Film Commission located in Springfield. And they had volunteered to do a couple of videos for us. They were training videos. In these products that they made for us, these 12 or 14-minute videos were very, very high quality. We released them nationally through the Department of Defense and the Pentagon, and they were spread out throughout the U.S. And they were so good, we won some recognition from the Secretary of Defense for those products. Little by little, someone in the Central Illinois region would say, who was that guy? Who was that guy that was the cop that was in those training videos? And I helped the Film Commission and the chiefs do a project together about, lights in the headlight, in the rear view mirror. And also the FBI was involved in that, Sangamon County Sheriff. So yeah, it was a good partnership for everybody and an unexpected path. The president, a fellow by the name of Dean Williams from the Central Illinois Film Commission in Springfield, said you should try some of these casting companies because you have a nice screen presence. You certainly have a background in law enforcement, and maybe see if there are some opportunities for you. Start out doing background roles. Get some other opportunities, and yeah, I did that. I took his advice. I registered with a few of these things, and before long, I was getting opportunities for small roles in the background. Little by little, they advanced to featured roles, and then eventually some speaking parts, even some films, that I was involved in. So, it was a slow process, but, fun. Absolutely. I mean, there's chiefs that always are preparing to meet the press, meet the media. So you're always looking to do that. You're a spokesperson for the agency. In probably the vast majority, if not all of the municipalities, the police chief is probably the most visible of the department heads in that community. Certainly the officers are probably the most visible in the community. So you're always interacting with people. And I think when I first did a little bit of acting, I called one of my actor buddies that he and I were actually in the military together. And I said, I had some questions about it and I'd never really acted. And he said, well, wait a minute, Michael, didn't early in your career, you work undercover? Didn't you convince someone to, buy marijuana from you or something along those lines? So that was acting. Didn't you hold press conferences when you were a police chief, where you were speaking to a group of people from a script that you might have called a press release, but you were still speaking in front of a group and you had camera presence and camera familiarity. So yes, and the chiefs were certainly good about hosting those media classes. We always had them. I was also fortunate enough to attend the FBI National Academy, where I took media classes on not only how to write press releases, but how to give a press conference, and all of those things. And even competing for a police chief's job when you're in an assessment center, which of course our association is good for conducting. But when you're in an assessment center, you're essentially role playing. So I think those skills do cross over, and quite well. I think it's a pretty smooth transition for if you're ready for it. Our goal was always to have municipal officials, maybe even the municipal league level, recognize that, like an accountant, you can get a certification. So an accountant can have the basic skill set, but they want to go for that additional recognition, become a certified public accountant. And we are hoping that would become the same thing in the chief's process. And that if municipalities were looking for a police chief, they might say, look, she's also a certified police chief. And to them, they would recognize that this is a voluntary process, that this chief decided that she wanted to elevate her career another level by showing her community involvement, her continuing education, her commitment, her ethical standards, all of those other components that make up the process. For me, this was an unexpected result of it, that hopefuls, police chief hopefuls, who were higher level commanders or deputy chiefs or assistant chiefs, they started going through the process to make themselves a more desirable candidate in the future. And what a unique people and a dynamic that we'd come together and we'd talk about things, and I knew I had, dozens and dozens of people that I could seek for information, assistance, bounce things off of, tap into their mindset, and we could collaborate on different things. So the association was just very instrumental in opening me. It kickstarted me into many different directions. Kickstarted me to apply for and seek out an appointment to the FBI Academy. It kickstarted me into getting my graduate degree. So a lot of things, and then continuing that networking. So many of if I looked at the membership roster or even the list of past presidents, those people that I'm still in touch with today, I'm 7 years out from when I retired, but I still routinely communicate with these people, and just because they were so dynamic, and so much of an influence on me during my career and development. So.